Hey guys, welcome back to Hellstormwargaming. Hope you're all having a great day, and welcome back to this. Well, welcome back. This is the first one. Welcome to a video. I think about 3 people commented on the last coffee time that said that I look high because my eyes are like. I just want to let you know that I'm really tired. I've been working all hours trying to make cool videos, and I've got 2 big bright lights in my face. 9th edition got announced this weekend, and it's been a real whirlwind of like what's happened recently. So I released a couple of other videos if you want to check those out. I did one where I kind of reacted to the CGI trailer and like the initial flurry of information that we had. I kind of like reacted to that and gave my thoughts on that. I also sat down and chatted about the 9 changes to 9th edition that GW released along with the Twitch reveal, where I kind of talk about how the game might change and how the meta might change with these 9 changes that they've kind of given, which is basically hardly any information, but it's quite a fun video and there's lots of interesting comments about what people might think might happen in the future, so it'd be awesome if you could check that out. But since then, people have been scrubbing the websites and trying to find leaked pictures or anything, any information at all about what else GW are going to announce. There was a leaked picture of a Necron army that looked absolutely terrible. It was just crappy. You can hardly see anything. You can make out some stuff. And then since then, Warhammer community have made another article. This was Sunday night that they did that, where they kind of show off some of the new models and they kind of give you big nice close-ups, so you don't have to like use enhance and hack into the way of a website just to see a picture of some new pretty models.
Enhance. Enhance. Enhance.
Just print the damn thing!
Initially I thought, oh, I'm going to do a video about the new stuff, and I was like, okay. And then I realised people don't really care about just looking at the models. They want to kind of hear like what they do and how they're going to be good. So I thought this video idea that I've had is kind of interesting, where I can kind of, maybe it's a lot of guesswork, it's kind of speculating, but I'm going to be looking at the units that are coming out and I'm going to try and work out how they're going to perform on the tabletop and what they might do and what special rules they might have. And I'm going to be doing that by analysing some of the units they already have in the game and comparing them to the units that they're showing off and see if we can maybe make some similarities and maybe work out exactly what they're going to do. So I'm going to work through each model or each unit according to the way the community article has laid them out. So the first one that we saw, which was already kind of showed off anyway, is this Primaris Lieutenant. So this is a Primaris Lieutenant with a Volkite pistol and a Storm Shield. So being a Primaris Lieutenant, they haven't really given him a specific name. They haven't said it's a Primaris Lieutenant in or it's a Primaris Lieutenant X, where they give you like Crusader mode or Crusader version 1. It's just Primaris Lieutenant with a Volkite pistol and Storm Shield. So I can think it's safe to say that the stat line for the original Primaris Lieutenant, you know, move 6, weapon skill 2, BS 3, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds and 4 attacks, is going to be pretty standard, and that's probably going to be the same for this guy. He is holding a big massive Storm Shield though, so I think it's going to basically be a Primaris Lieutenant datasheet with a Storm Shield and a Volkite pistol. So what's that going to do? So I do believe the halo on his backpack is going to be purely decorative, but he has a Storm Shield, and a Storm Shield in 40k, well, in a Space Marine Codex, pretty much across the board. If it's called a Storm Shield, then it's a 3+ invulnerable save. So obviously, Primaris Lieutenants, or any Lieutenant currently, always struggles with the fact that they don't have an invulnerable save, and now this one has a 3+, and potentially that Iron Halo gives him a 4+ as well, but more importantly, it's a 3+. He also has it looks like he's got a power sword as well, so I can imagine he's going to have just a normal mastercrafted power sword maybe, or just a normal power sword, so it might be damage 2 at -3 AP, or a strength user, or it might be just damage 1. But he does have a Volkite pistol as well, which is going to be quite interesting. So I had to do a little bit digging, but there are Volkite weapons in the game already in the Space Marine Codex. So the Tartarus Terminator Squad, which were essentially a 30k plastic unit that came out for a board game and then got brought into 40k later, have a weapon known as a Volkite Charger. So this is range 15 inches, heavy 2, strength 5, 0 AP and 2 damage. However, when resolving an attack made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any damage. So the Volkite Charger looks very similar. If a little bit bigger, you could consider it having 2 barrels, one on top of each other, rather than 1 compared to this pistol. So I imagine we're probably going to see something very similar, probably the same range, but maybe only 1 shot rather than 2, with it being a pistol rather than a fully fledged charger, whatever type of weapon that is. We've also been told it's a Neo Volkite pistol, which doesn't tell us anything, sadly. It says, if you ask any Horus Heresy fan, they'll tell you they are perfect for emulating your enemies. Great, that doesn't tell me what it does. But that's what I can kind of see. He's going to have a 3+ invulnerable. He's going to have a pistol that does mortal wounds on a 6, kind of like a sniper rifle, I guess. No AP. He's going to have 5 wounds and 4 attacks with a power sword, maybe. Again, could be mastercrafted. Don't really know. We can only see the hilt right now. So in terms of points, a normal Primaris Lieutenant is 65 points. And let's just for speculation, pretend that his Iron Halo does nothing on his back, because it looks like you wouldn't use it anyway. So they're about 65 points. A Storm Shield on a character is another 10 points, that's 75. And a Volkite Charger currently is only 3 points. So let's say it's going to be 3 points as well. So you're looking at like 78 points. And then you give him a sword. And whether it's either a power sword, which is 4 points, or a mastercrafted power sword is only 6 points. So you're looking at just over 70 or 75, around 75-ish points for a lieutenant with a better pistol, a sword and a storm shield, which isn't terrible to say that lieutenants can get sniped out by eliminators quite easily, for example. But I don't know, he looks quite more, he's got a little bit more armor on the usual, so maybe that might give him an extra wound. He might be Crusader Lieutenant, I don't know, or it's just a Primaris Lieutenant with a different loadout. It's going to be quite interesting. They've always been a bit strange of how they do Primaris and loadouts, because it's not quite as customizable as the old Marines. But what do you guys think? Does that sound about right? Would you pay 75 points for a storm shielded Primaris Lieutenant on a 40mm base? We reroll 1s to wound as standard. So next up, they showed off the Assault Intercessors. So we saw one of these already. They showed off one, but they've shown off a full squad now. Well, they've shown off 4 of the 5 models officially. I think these are going to be quite interesting. I think how competitive this unit is going to be is essentially depends on whether it's going to be a troop or it's going to be a fast attack, or whether detachments even matter when you're buying command points, because usually you take a battalion because you want to generate command points, but the way that's going to work is going to completely change now. So we can't really speculate how well these are going to fit into a force organization, but for argument's sake, let's say you still need to take a battalion with 3 units of troops. If these are troops and they're really cheap, then this is going to be quite interesting for combat-based armies such as White Scars, maybe Raven Guard as well. Because usually you take some intercessors, but they're really good in combat, but you want them to do a little bit more, but they're really there for shooting, whereas these guys are dedicated for combat. Obviously, the sergeant could take a plasma pistol as well. As you can see, it's very similar to the one that you'd find in the Hellblasters kit. I actually converted some of these up and I posted them on Twitter as if they were new, and then I hid in the hashtags that it was a conversion, but a lot of people fell for it. So I put it on Twitter, Instagram and on Facebook, and everyone was like, I think I had like 50 people message me like, oh my god, can I see the bikes? And oh my god, what else have you got? What's in the starter box? And I was just like, I just kept sending them memes being like, what, me? I don't know what you're on about. And then eventually I'd go read the hashtags. But what's the difference? It's essentially an intercessor with a heavy bolt pistol and chainswords, and then a plasma pistol. So a plasma pistol is just going to be the same, surely. I can't see that being any different. Heavy bolt pistol we've already seen in the Reavers, so it's a pistol that's strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage, which again, it looks like the same piece of kit. It's what I use in my conversion. They look pretty close. So currently intercessors are only about 17 points. The bolt pistol and the chainswords are going to be free. I can't see the chainswords being anything special. I can only see them just being as a normal chainsword with +1 attack. So with +1 attack, intercessors have 2 attacks base. They'll have 3 attacks with the chainsword, 4 attacks base on the charge with shock assault. So you can have 4 attacks from 4 of them and then 5 attacks from the sergeant because he gets 1 more. So we're looking at 21 attacks for a unit of 5 at 85 points, which is quite decent to be fair. Again, the way they're really going to shine is whether they get any unique stratagems that make them more interesting, or whether, again, how detachments are going to work. So it's a little bit hard to say, but we can kind of throw it out there and say they're going to be about 17 points a model, maybe a little bit more, because Games Workshop has said that points are going to change. I don't know if they're going to change the entire game all at once like they would with a chapter approved, or whether they're going to keep it the same and points are going to change over time. If the intercessors stay the same, I think it's safe to say these are going to be about 85 points for a unit of 5, and then a little bit extra if you want to put a plasma pistol on there. And they're just kind of just a bunch of attacks. I don't see how good they're going to be outside of White Scars being able to double move and stuff like that. You can put them in impulsors, which would be quite fun, a lot better, especially because impulsors can carry units of 5, so you can kind of have a wall of impulsors with cheap troops now that are actually decent in combat rather than just kind of standing around being with guns and then charging as well. I don't know though. Again, the units are 5 with 2 wounds, so 10 wounds in a unit. Intercessors in small units are okay. You usually want bigger units depending on the synergies. Like I ran an Intercessor Horde at LVO, but that was because it was Imperial Fist and I was taking mass Stalker Bolt Rifles. Personally, I've never really got on with combat armies, so I'm not really sure. But if you guys are good with combat armies, you like these, I mean, they're essentially going to be Khorne Berserker Lights, essentially. With just worse strength and no AP and more wounds. Sorry. So next up, we have the Bladeguard Veterans. So in the description they said, your eyes do not deceive you, they are indeed first company veterans armed with power swords, star, and storm shields. And then the star refers to say that they are mastercrafted power swords, which leads me to believe that the Primaris lieutenant has also got a mastercrafted power sword, being he's basically the same model and he's got the same sword hilt. We don't really have anything direct that we can kind of say, oh look, it's an intercessor with, or it's a normal dude with, that just in the normal base Space Marine Codex to compare it to. We have Honor Guard, which I think this is kind of like a direct replacement for. Again, I say direct replacement, what I mean is what's happening with Primaris is they are making the same unit that they already have and they're making it better as Primaris. For example, they're making Primaris captains when they've already got captains. They're making bikes, Primaris bikes when they've already got normal bikes. They're not replacing the units, but they essentially are, especially in the lore. It's happening over time so they don't wind people up, but here we are. So the other thing we can really compare them to kind of work out what these guys are going to do is looking at Victrix Honor Guard, which are a unique unit from Marnius Calgar's box set. So these guys are coming in a unit of 2, and they are essentially, if you look at the models, they're essentially the same but ultramarine versions, rather than these ones are painted as ultramarines, but they're unmarked in terms of actual iconography. You can paint these in as any chapter. So Victrix Honor Guard coming in units of 2. They're only 35 points a model with all the war gear, which is relatively cheap. They come with a normal power sword, frag and crack grenades, and a storm shield. Sorry, an Ultima storm shield, because it's the ultimate one, obviously. So they move 6, the weapon skill 2, BS 3. They don't really have any guns except for throwing weapons, but it looks like the Bladeguard veterans do have some sort of pistol, whether that's just a bolt pistol, a heavy bolt pistol, I don't know. Could be Volkite. We can only see the hilt, which Victrix Honor Guard don't have any weapons, so I'm just going to play it safe and say it's a bolt pistol or a heavy bolt pistol because they're both free. On the Victrix Honor Guard, we got power sword, we got frag and crack grenades. They have Honor Guard of Macragge, so when a friendly Ultramarines character model within 3 inches of a unit would lose any wounds as a result of an attack made against that model, this unit can intercept that attack. Roll 1d6. On a 2+, that model does not lose a wound, and this unit suffers 1 mortal wound for each of those wounds. Only 1 attempt can be made to intercept each attack. Basically, tag drones, but worse. It's why people don't really use Honor Guard, is because every time a character within 3 inches of this unit would take a wound, they can intercept that single wound for the attack. So the way Tau drones work is if you shot a las cannon and rolled 6 damage, the Tau drone would intercept and take 1 mortal wound. Whereas with Space Marines Honor Guard, they intercept each wound, so you'd have to intercept 6 wounds, for example. So essentially the bodyguards, this is a bodyguarding rule, which I can very much see the Bladeguard veterans having as well, but being less chapter specific, so it'd just be any character that they're part of the chapter with. So you play them as, for example, Blood Ravens. If they have the Blood Ravens keyword, they can intercept attacks called Blood Ravens. This unit also has Heroes of Ultramar, which lets them perform a heroic intervention as if there was a character. Again, I can see them having something similar because they are the Sworn Protectors. They're essentially characters, but they come in a unit. I can kind of see them having that as well, as being able to heroically intervene. They have an Ultima Storm Shield, which gives them a 3+ invulnerable save. Again, it's going to be the same. And then Calgar's Honor Guard. If your army is battle forged, this unit does not take up a slot in a detachment that includes Marnius Calgar. So I don't think they're going to have this rule. I think it'd be interesting if they did. Let's say if you take a chapter master, they don't take any detachment slots, but I'm not really sure. I think with them being a bigger unit of 3, potentially being able to take them into a unit of 6 as a standard Primaris unit, being able to double the unit in terms of size. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know if they'll have that rule. They might do. Be interesting if they did. So again, these guys come in at 35 points. They have a 2+ armor save as well, which is quite cool. So they have like Artificer armor essentially. So as I said, they are 35 points a model. With a Mastercrafted Power Sword, they might be a bit extra, so they might be like 38, which would be quite cool, quite cheap. The problem is I don't really see what benefit they give to the army. They don't really do much except for intercepting those wounds, and even then, it's not that many wounds that they intercept. The way that it works is they have 3 wounds each, Victrix Honor Guard, and I can kind of see these guys having 3 wounds each as well, because they are quite chunky and quite big and robust, which means the Primaris Lieutenant also might have 1 extra wound if this is the same for these guys, but I'm not sure. What do you guys think? A couple of things that Victrix Honor Guard do have is, well, they have a specialist detachment from Vigilis Defiant, one of the first campaign book. So essentially, when you buy this with a CP, the Victrix Honor Guard gain an extra keyword, and they get Victrix Guard keyword. And what does that give the Victrix Guard? It gives them access to a Warlord trait that lets them reroll wounds in the fight phase once per battle, which is quite cool. It also gives them a couple of stratagems. So 1 for 1 CP to use at the start of the fight phase, and the Victrix Honor Guard get +1 to hit. which is cool. There's also another one where it's 3 CP, and at the end of the charge phase, the opponent's charge phase, if you were charged as an honor guard, or if you performed a heroic intervention, you can attack, and then they can attack as normal in the fight phase. So if these guys can do something similar, that'd be quite cool. I think it's quite expensive command points wise. Again, we don't know how command points are going to change, so who bloody knows how many you're going to have. But that's kind of what sets out Victrix honor guard compared to normal honor guard, that they have these unique stratagems that kind of make them a little bit better. But yeah, so I think they're basically just going to be unmarked honor guard. That's what I can kind of see them being. I'm not really sure if they'll find a place competitively because they're so limited to what they do. They're not anything fancy. They're really cool models and they look amazing, and I literally fancy them. But I can't see them being that competitive. It's just the unit that intercepts wounds, and sadly in the game of Warhammer today, it doesn't really do much for Space Marines. Maybe in 9th edition, if they give them some crazy special rules, then awesome, but we're just speculating. We're just trying to guess what these guys are going to do. So the other one that's really springing some questions is essentially because we can't really guess what they're going to do, is the Outriders, which are the new Primaris bikes. I should say that I'm surprised they're not grav, and I think most people have survived they're not grav bikes, but I do think they look really good, and I really like the kind of classic design that's been chonked up ready for Intercessors, and they actually look like they should be riding them rather than the old ones, which kind of look a bit silly now because they're so old. But they do look quite big. They look like they're on larger oval bases, and they all seem to have close combat weapons. They all seem to have a chainsaw, either maglock to the leg, or one guy's actually holding it out and sticking out like he wants to poke someone. What's also quite interesting is the gun on the front of the bike. So I can kind of see the only way you can compare is looking at normal Space Marines or the tactical squad compared to a bike squad, and then kind of making the similar comparison from Intercessors to this. So normal bikes have +1 toughness and +1 wound compared to a normal tactical marine, but it's safe to say that these Outriders are probably going to be toughness 5, and they're probably going to have 3 wounds. I'd be surprised if they had 4 wounds, but the size of the base, I can't see it being impossible. Having something that large and only having 3 wounds would be a little bit of a shame. I'm going to go out on a whim. I'm going to go out on a whim and say they're going to have 3 wounds, but I wouldn't be surprised if they gave them 4 just because they're so big. That's the only thing that gets changed from a tactical marine to a bike, is that you just get +1 wound and +1 toughness. So I don't know if they're going to get any more attacks. I think they're just going to have 2 attacks base. They're going to get +1 for having a chainsword, and then +1 if they charge. So they're going to have 4 attacks. They're not going to have 5 attacks, for example. In terms of weapons, we see a pistol at one angle. I don't know if that's just a bolt pistol or a heavy bolt pistol, similar to what the Assault Primaris have. They might do, I don't know, but it's just a pistol. What the main thing is the gun in the front of the bike. With the fact this has ammo feeds, and I mean, if you've seen the Repulsor heavy bolter sponson on the front, I think it's safe to say that this is a twin heavy bolter. So it's going to be like 6 shots at strength 5, -1 and 1 damage, which is really, really cool. In terms of points, again, it's going to have to be a little bit abstract because we don't really know. A tactical marine and a bike, there's 9 points difference. So it's safe to say that maybe we'll have a similar points difference between Intercessors and these bikes. Probably going to be about 26 points base, maybe. I don't know. I'm just kind of going out on a limb. On a whim. Then the pistol and the swords are free. But then the twin bolter is 17 points currently. So you're looking at like nearly like 45 points a model for a 3 wound dude with a twin heavy bolter. In my opinion, is a little bit expensive. Again, it's hard to do it all the time, but you're going to have to look at Assault Centurions, which are like 45 points or 35 points with the rapid fire bolters and flamers and siege drills. I mean, this would be really cool in a White Scars army, but competitively, I don't think you're going to see them at like, what, 125 points? No, even more. 135 points for 3 wound dudes. I just don't think you're going to see it. Again, if they get a cool special rule, like Genestealer cults have some bike units that can like kick up dust and, you know, do all some fancy stuff, then amazing. But Space Marines don't really have any fancy rules like that. It tends to be quite, we have wounds, we have really good guns, we don't really have many special rules. Let's go. Now, in the Space Marine Codex, there is already a stratagem for bikers. It's TCP. Use it in the movement phase. Select one Astartes biker unit that, if that moves, then you have a 4+ invulnerable save. If you advance, you have a 3+ invulnerable save, which at least gives them a little bit of survivability. But if they're advancing, then they're not going to be charging or shooting. I mean, the fact that they've got a 20 heavy bolter and they're going to be moving around a lot, I wonder if they're going to get a special rule that means that they ignore the penalty for moving with heavy weapons, so they hit on 3s. Because if they're basically BS4, that would be pretty terrible. But I don't know. What do you guys think? It's quite interesting. Again, 3 wounds, moving with a heavy weapon. Honestly, my wish list would be 4 wounds and ignoring the penalty, or having a unique weapon that's assault. If it was assault, you could advance around with it and still shoot. That'd be pretty mega. So the final one, which is also the most interesting to try and analyze is the Judicar, which at first a lot of people thought was a chaplain, but this is like a brand new unit that's designed for educating dudes. So he's equipped with a relic, executioner blade, and an hourglass, which we have no idea what he does. But essentially these guys say they execute orders for the chapter master. So I think these are going to fill a similar role to chaplains, but kind of be like a chaplain light. They do something a little bit different. We can't really say what the special rules are going to be. We can't really say what the weapon's going to be because it's quite unique. I mean, all we have to go off now is a relic blade, which is +2 strength, -3 AP, and D3 damage. Whereas this is an executioner's relic blade. So is it going to be more strength? Is it going to be less AP and more damage? I don't know. It's kind of just completely abstract. So we can't really say how many points this guy is going to be, and what he does on the battlefield, and what sort of weapon he's got. He looks like he has a pistol. That's about all we can say. I think this is going to be more like a support character for the elite slot. We kind of saw a lot of that with Death Guard. We started to see it with Space Marines, with a lot of like ancients or elites, for example, along with apothecaries. I think this is kind of going to be sitting in that role of being an elite character, similar to maybe the Chaos guy who has like the giant axe, and he's also an executioner. Maybe this is the Primaris version of that. But I don't know. What do you guys want him to do on the battlefield? I don't know what he's going to do, so I can't really say how many points he's going to be, and I can't really say how competitive he's going to be. I've got no idea. He just looks cool, and he's got a weird helmet. But there you go. That's about it. That's the new Space Marines anyway, and that's kind of like my thoughts of how many points they might be, what they might do on the battlefield, and generally whether they're going to be good or not. Probably a quick roundup. They're going to be quite cheap, except for the bikes, which are going to be expensive. And most of it's not going to be very competitive, but you might enjoy using it. You might enjoy painting it. So I don't really know. What do you guys think? Are you looking forward to these units? Are you wanting to try them out? Do you think they might be too expensive for what we've kind of worked out? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in comment what you guys kind of think. How many boxes do you want to buy, and how many units do you want of these? Again, if you want to know how I did the conversion, it's just Reaver bits with Intercessor bodies, and then I changed the heads because I don't use Primaris Intercessor heads. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, check out the other videos. I'm kind of doing quite a few of this talking head, like just chatting about rules and stuff like that, which is quite fun, and I'm quite enjoying making them. So if you got any feedback, then let me know. If you liked the video, do like it. If you disliked it, dislike it, but please tell me why you disliked it, because that'd be really cool, because essentially I just want to grow and just do better. Please subscribe if you can. We're trying to hit 20k. We're absolutely smashing it right now, so hopefully we can keep up the momentum. But otherwise, have a great day, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.